The demonstrators' banners and chants repeatedly call for two key actions. First, the protection and release of the flotilla activists, and second, a shift in Italian foreign policy toward a more outspoken opposition to Israel's military campaign. For many participants, these protests have become a symbol of Italy's moral position in a conflict that continues to claim lives in the Middle East. The Italian government, however, has dismissed the protests as politically motivated. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has argued that the demonstrations are less about solidarity with Gaza and more about undermining her administration. She stated that, in her view, these protests have been organised mainly to protest against the government rather than in support of Gaza. This characterisation has angered many demonstrators who insist that their actions are guided by humanitarian concerns and a commitment to the rule of law. For them, the detention of Italian citizens involved in the flotilla is not just a foreign policy issue, but a domestic one, a test of whether their own government will defend the rights of its nationals when they act in solidarity with people in conflict zones. The protests and the strike reflect a broader unease within Italian society about the country's position in the ongoing Gaza conflict. While Italy has historically been aligned with Western policies in the Middle East, the images of suffering in Gaza and the arrest of Italian activists have stirred emotions and provoked a sense of moral urgency that transcends traditional political divisions. In Rome's Gaza Square, the mood is a mix of anger, solidarity, and determination. Students have set up information booths, distributing leaflets explaining the flotilla's mission and the legal cases of those detained. Union leaders address the crowds from makeshift platforms demanding that the government take a stronger stand. Families with children hold placards calling for peace and humanitarian aid. There is a sense that this is not just a protest about a single incident, but part of a larger debate about Italy's role in international crises. The disruption caused by the strike is tangible. Commuters face delays and cancellations. Deliveries of goods are slowed. Public offices operate with skeleton staff. Hospitals and emergency services remain functional but under strain. For many Italians, the inconvenience is significant, yet opinion polls suggest that a substantial portion of the public sympathises with the aims of the protest, even if they do not join the demonstrations themselves. Observers note that the speed and scale of the mobilisation reflect not only anger over the flotilla incident, but also a deeper discontent with how the government has handled issues of foreign policy and civil liberties. The perception that the state has failed to protect its own citizens abroad, coupled with concerns about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, has galvanised a coalition of unions, student groups and activists that might otherwise have remained divided.